What's up guys, Peter here from Reviews on Anything, and in this video we're having a look at a backpack. More specifically a backpack from a company called BagoBago. Now BagoBago is a Czech company that made this backpack, but it comes with a twist. If you flip over this flap on the bottom, it reveals some legs. This backpack is actually a portable seat as well. And BagoBago claims that it is both a seat and a backpack without compromises. So you can still use the 22-liter capacity of this backpack like you would with a regular backpack. But the beauty is that you always have a seat with you. A seat that supports up to 130 kilos of body weight. You can imagine, for example, when you're waiting for check-in at the airport or when you're doing a city tour and you just want to take a seat but there's no seat around. This is beautiful. You still have everything you need in the backpack, but you can also sit down on it. We're going to take a closer look and see if it's any good. Alright, so let's take a closer look at this backpack with built-in seat from BagoBago. Now no worries, you'll get a demonstration of me sitting on the seat later in the video. But let's see what this backpack is actually made of. This is the black version, obviously. It also comes in a grey and a sort of army green version, if that's more your kind of thing. But I think the black one is, you know, nice and understated, which is always something good. On the front here you got the BagoBago logo, and you see this little dot, I suppose, here, which is actually a magnetic clip that you can use to secure the flap that covers the legs on. There's another dot here, so you can actually put it there and it stays there, so the legs are free to move. More on that later. Around the backpack, here you have the main compartment. Oh, let's open up with two zippers, and there's a green pillow inside. There's some different separations inside. It's probably hard to see on camera since it's all black and black, but there's plenty of room in there. It's 22-liter storage, so you'll be very fine for a day trip or a day of walking around in the city. And in here is also the included hip band, so you can actually attach that and have it sort of secure around your hips, which distributes the weight a bit better. Close this back up. Then we have the front pocket with a nice little touch here, Czech original. It is a Czech design and it's also a Czech production, so it's all you know, a bit nationalistic, I suppose, but that's nice. I always like it when people are proud of their country and proud that they produce in their own country, so that's a nice touch. Then you got some pockets here and an extra zipper, for example for passports, phone, pens, drinking bottle, and so on. Zip this back up. Then here on the side we have two mesh compartments, I suppose for a drinking bottle or you know, anything you want to stick in there, umbrella and so on. Nice and tight so it doesn't fall out. And that's the whole front of the backpack. Now the backpack itself is 1.6 kilos because there's an aluminium construction inside for the legs, which we'll get to in a second. And it is 53 high, 35 wide and 20 centimeters deep. So that's your sizes for you. Then moving on to the back. You can see the legs sticking out here on the bottom. When you have the flap closed, they're all covered, of course, which is nice. Then we have the handles, two shoulder or two chest buckles, I suppose, so you can hang something from there. There's also a chest strap here that you can close, so that's nice to keep it tight. And of course with the hip belt you can carry a bit heavier things. Here's where you attach the hip belt. The shoulder straps are nice and padded on the inside. I hope you can see the difference on camera. And there's also, of course, the padding here on the back of the backpack. Which is also nice. It keeps, you know, the weight directly off your back, so there's a bit of ventilation going on, and it feels much nicer with some padding to carry the backpack around in general. Then on the top here, there's another carry handle to, you know, put it in and out overhead bins or anything. The whole thing is actually airplane approved, fits the appropriate airplane sizes. You might want to be careful with the weight though, because the whole backpack already weighs 1.6 kilos. So if there's a weight limit to the stuff you can take on a plane, for example, then you have to take that into consideration. That's all there is to see actually in the backpack itself. Obviously what you really want to see is this bottom part, because that's where the legs live. Now the whole the construction for the seat is actually integrated in the backpack. I'll show you in the front later. And it's designed in such a way that it doesn't interfere with whatever is in the backpack. So it doesn't matter what's in there, you can still sort of unfold the seat and sit on it without any problems, and you don't have to worry about whatever is on the inside breaking or getting crushed or anything. Now there's a little Velcro strap here that attaches the flap, keeps it in place, so you can undo that, and then the legs are exposed. These are rubber tips that don't mark your floor, so you can sit anywhere and don't have to worry about any marks on the floor, which is a good thing. And then the whole flap is Velcro and comes off. So here on the bottom you can take the whole flap out and sort of leave the legs exposed if that's more your kind of thing. Or if you use it constantly, then obviously putting the flap on and off is not really necessary. Now there is a zipper here, as you can see, with a extra compartment. I suppose this is for storing the flap, but I'm not really sure why this is here. I don't think it's really necessary, because you can store the flap, I suppose, and lock it up, and I guess the flap is out of the way, but then you're left with sort of this cover flap hanging around. So I don't know, I don't find that completely necessary. It's not a design flaw or anything, but I think that's a bit overdoing it. And you have to actually unzip it to expose the Velcro that you can attach the flap to. So I think that's a bit much. I think they could have just put the Velcro here and all would be well. But on the other hand, you don't have to put the flap inside the backpack itself. So there you go. Then we move to the top of the backpack. Hope you can see it properly. What you would normally consider be the main zipper reveals nothing, because there is fabric here. But if you pull it open, which is the trick for today, your seat is exposed. This is where you sit. Again, I'll show you a demonstration later. And this is the way the seat works. So when you're actually sitting here on this fabric bit, there's more fabric on the inside, which obviously I can't show you without cutting the whole thing open. But that's where you sit. When you're done, you fold it back up and all is well. And you can see that on the bottom, the legs are now apart and provide the platform, or the base rather, for the seat. There you go, there you have both in one view. So here you sit, this stands on the floor, and there's your seat. It supports up to 130 kilos, so that's definitely a good thing, although I would probably not recommend a 130 kilo person sitting on a backpack, and those people that are that heavy probably don't use a backpack to do much of walking or city tours either. But it's nice to know that it's been tested and designed to withstand that kind of weight. And when you're done, you fold it back up, zip it back up, and all is well. It's a normal backpack again. When you cover up the legs, nobody would even know that it is a built-in seat. Now BagoBago claims that it's designed in such a way that it doesn't crush the inside, which is true. We tested it out not with anything like porcelain vase or anything, but you don't have to worry about the insides getting crushed. That is actually completely true. They say they also have designed this in such a way that the construction doesn't really interfere with the whole sense of a backpack, which is true up to a point. And the aluminium construction of the legs actually contributes to the integrity of the backpack, to the sort of structural integrity. And it helps distribute the weight of the backpack a bit better when you're carrying particularly heavy things. So that's all great. But, in all honesty, you're still carrying around a seat. So there's no way around it, there's no way to hide it. That is still in the backpack. Now I wouldn't say that you're limited because there's a built-in seat, but the backpack has 22 liters of storage, so claims BagoBago, which is certainly not the last word in big backpack portability. So having the seat integrated into the backpack does compromise the overall loading capacity a bit, because you can imagine a backpack this size, if you take the seat out, there's obviously more space to put stuff. But they've done a really good job in sort of integrating the whole thing together and making sure that the seats, the legs, sorry, and the seats and the aluminium construction are actually genuinely a part of the backpack, which makes it very usable, and therefore actually it serves its purpose really well. Now the whole thing is washable, which is good. It's actually made from a waterproof material they call Cortexin. So that's nice to know that your stuff inside is safe when it starts raining, and when it gets dirty you can just take the aluminium stuff out and throw the whole thing in the washing machine and all is well. Now downsides, not really I suppose. You know, it's a backpack with a seat inside, so like I said, you're compromised slightly on the total volume of the backpack. The seat itself works really well. Don't imagine sitting on this for hours on end. That's not what it's built for. It's built for when you're doing a city tour and you quickly have to sit somewhere, maybe to eat something. You're waiting for an airplane and there's no seats left. You just pull out your seat here and you're good to go. So for sort of on the go, on the fly seating positions, this is fantastic. It works great and it does exactly as advertised. As long as you don't have to carry too many things around, the 22 liters are fine as well. I mean, if you're that serious about carrying heavy loads, you know, you should definitely look for another backpack and maybe take your own seat. But 22 liters in general will suffice for a day trip. Walking through a city, doing a little, you know, hiking tour or whatever, you'll be good with this. The weight, 1.6 kilos, I suppose, you know, it's not too light. It's not the lightest backpack in the world, but it's certainly not the heaviest one either. And with, you know, knowing that you always have a seat with you, if that's what you need, then I think the 1.6 kilos is not much of a compromise either. The material itself, even though it is waterproof and washable, personally I don't really like the material. It feels a bit like an outdoor jacket maybe. It wouldn't personally be my chosen materials, but it serves its purpose really well. It does stay dry when it rains, and you know, it's good to know that you can actually wash your backpack in the washing machine when it gets dirty. So that's cool. And I think overall they've done a pretty good job in making this backpack the way it is. Personally, I would have liked to see a bit more color variation maybe. It's nice and understated this black way with the white accent here, and I especially like the check accent in the inside of the bag. But they probably could have done a bit more with color selection. Although BagoBago is, you know, it has 3 colors, and I'm sure that there will be many more colors in the future as well. So overall, I like this backpack. It's a good idea, and it does exactly what it needs to do, and it does exactly as advertised. So if you are somebody who does a lot of city tours, walks around a lot, but always finds finding a proper place to sit struggle, this is the solution for you. This is pretty unique. I've never seen anything like it, and I think it does a pretty good job in what it's supposed to do. And with 130 kilos load, I'm sure it'll fit everybody that does walking, because like I said before, I don't think anybody over 130 kilos does a lot of walking around. And I think with the storage options and the flexibility of the seat and the 22 liters load capacity, it is a good backpack, and I think they've done a good job in making this product. Thanks BagoBago for giving us this review unit. We really appreciate it that we got to test it out. We like this product, and we can definitely recommend it to anybody that is into city tours or just wants something convenient for on the go. You can imagine this also works really well, for example, when you have kids, you go to the park, all the benches are taken, you have a place to sit. Ha! This was Peter from Reviews on Anything. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!